What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm The Miz, and I'm awesome. And with me, as always, my tag team partner, Lee R-Truth. What's up, Lee?
Gerson, it's so good to see you back. I've missed you so much, Gerson. Oh my goodness. Gee, we gotta make videos together. Gee,
R-Truth lives in a state of confusion, doesn't he? He is a permanent resident of the state of confusion.
that's a good line.
Are you still a Ron Killings aficionado? Are you still appreciating their tag run?
Oh yeah, R-Truth. I mean, this comeback run he's had, I think, is probably my favorite thing. I would say I appreciate that he won the belts at Mania for what it meant and all that. I'm not, like his time with the Judgment Day was great. The thing with DIY was fun, but with Judgment Day winding down, they need to give him something different, someone else to go after.
Right. And now the bloodline is way too ruthless for him to hop over and do a comedy bit with them.
Right.
I would love to see him be the catalyst that causes Alpha Academy to ultimately unravel. Like, I think that would be a great bit for him.
That's funny. I had a different idea. I think that now that they're giving Braun Breaker the Goldberg push, that R-Truth should be calling him Goldberg, and he should be walking behind him with sparklers as he comes to the ring.
Like, yeah, but like, and you're right, that would be hilarious. But I think that could also bury Braun
That's true.
a little bit for what they're going for.
Yeah, maybe a one-off where they do that then.
What they're going for is weird with Braun. It's just weird. It's the Braun Breaker Revenge Tour, I guess, because he didn't get picked for King of the Ring tournament as a rookie that had never even his Raw debut was him being mad that he wasn't in. Anyway, we'll get to WWE TV at the end of the show. We're going to be talking about Gold Vibes. I think this has been the most talked about MLC ever. I don't know that it's the best or the worst or the biggest or the most important. Maybe a lot of that's true, or some, or none. But Lee, is this the most hubbub about an MLC as you've ever, I don't know, observed? Or would you say this is just another month?
Well, it's not just another month, I don't think. But I mean, usually the hubbubs go for anniversary months and zombie months. That's kind of the ones that every year it's like, oh, I got to save for zombie month. Oh, I got to do this. I think with everything changing the way it did, it's taking people by surprise, like how the format is working. There's been a lot of questions. Scott Go Blue posted a spreadsheet to kind of show, like, can free-to-play characters actually, or players actually get The Rock? And so there's been a lot of questions like, how does this actually work? The fact that we know all the characters in advance, and then their debut weekend, like, it is, one of the questions that some have asked is Scopely going to make the money on this? Because, well, all of us want to say, oh, we don't want to spend and all that, but at the same time, like, if Scopely doesn't make money, the game doesn't keep going. And so one of the players in our faction mentioned during last week with Charlotte's week that he had seen far more spending than he was used to seeing, and he kind of keeps track of that kind of stuff.
How would he make that observation? Like, where would one even look to try to track such a metric? Because I don't even know where I would look for that.
Right. If you go on the portal and go to the events and then scroll down, there's the leaderboard there. And they've changed it to where it doesn't show who spent what, but it will show how many points they have. And every point is equivalent to $1 most of the time. So if you see like 910 points as the top person, that means that person spent $910 that cycle, whatever it is. Usually they're 2 to 3 days tops. Some are longer, but you know, that means somebody spent $1,000 in 2 days basically on the game. But he was saying that he saw a lot. And to be honest, you know, I spent a little more than like $200 extra beyond what I planned on spending. And
Hmm.
I was way down the leaderboard. I mean, I don't ever leaderboard because I'm not, I
Ooh,
mean, I know spending $200 is a lot, and it was a lot for me.
that
Thank
was to
goodness
chase
tax
Charlotte,
return,
right?
but
Aren't you chasing Charlotte for that?
I was, and
And
I got,
I'm not rubbing salt in the wound.
yeah, Rusty, tell me about your luck
If
this
that
week.
felt like I'm throwing shade, as the kids say, I'm not. I do you ever have those you're just laying in bed on a Saturday morning and you're like, what the heck? I'll do a pull, right?
Yeah,
You're dinking around with the game. The weekend contest hasn't started yet. So you do like a 7 pull, right? You just roll the dice. Well,
yeah.
I did on Saturday morning and I hit on Charlotte's straight up 6 bronze poster, all stars filled on a 7 pull, like 9:30 in the morning, and like I send it to Lee and he's like, I like you, but like maybe not today, or something like that. It's like we're friends, but like I'm gonna need a few days to process this. It was
Right,
something you said that was so funny because I didn't know that you had been chasing, I guess, that hard, right?
right.
The last 24 hours. And then me. But isn't that always how this game goes? The one dork in your faction that like is kind of clueless about what's happening in the game and how good a superstar is ends up with them, and like
Right.
you're chasing while they're writing any good.
Yeah,
They get great Muda and they post in your faction chat, is he any good? I haven't watched any videos yet.
right.
Like, what?
Wow.
It's like the
Yeah,
non-active guy that's in your bottom 10% is always the luckiest one on the pulls, it feels like.
right,
That's not
right.
me, just for the record. That is not me. But it feels like I've been on the other side watching those guys get the pulls,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, you'll rue the day.
Right. Well, that's why on our 3 minute move set videos, I'll often say, this is for the person in your faction asking any good, because, like, you know, if anybody was like, oh, they're talking about me right now, like, no, that is literally post after post after post after
Yeah,
post in our brag rooms,
yeah,
our faction chats, like,
right,
hey, I got this person, they any good? And it's like, oh, this is why power ratings exist for one. But for two, like, how dare you pull 6-star Charlotte? And
right.
no, it wasn't just like I mean, I didn't
I
mean for us
think
to devolve into
I
talking
think
about poll.
Charlotte has heard everything you've said about her. I think she has a
Whoops.
deal with WWE Creative and Scopely to ban you from ever getting your hands on her poster ever again because you don't
Man,
appreciate the queen. I think that's what it might be.
maybe. Well, you know what? She's in there again this week, so I'm gonna go one more time for her. And if I don't get her there,
Yeah.
my goodness, I hope the path is Shard Recruit, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, I mean, goodness, I not only did I not pull Charlotte, I did 2.5-ish mega pulls because I did 2 mega and then I did a couple like small pulls, dollar pulls, things like that here and there. And not only did I not get Charlotte, I got one fuse out of all of that. And so that was like, eek. And I did get a bunch of contest rewards, so I could at
Right.
least say, like, I walked away with something.
Yeah,
But
that's
again, it goes back to Merrick said it a number of times over the last couple of years. It's really, really strongly recommended that you don't pull unless you're going to get something absolutely guaranteed.
right.
So, like, there's the
Right.
shards you need for a character. Like, for example, had I not done those pulls, I need 5 shards for Striker Bam Bam Bigelow. There's a $100 deal right now where you get 80. That
Oh,
would
it's a no-brainer.
guarantee me.
Just buy it. Just buy them.
Just buy it, yeah, because you know I didn't already empty the purse, but yeah, yeah. So that would have been smarter.
Yeah.
But then again, the flip side, I did last a couple weeks ago, I did a single pull and got Indy, which is like the most rare female in the game. You did a 20 poll, got Charlotte. So it's like that
So,
doesn't
so
it's
in
gambling.
let me just say, I don't always read the comments. I've been reading the comments on the last few shows, and like people are really upset that you are not impressed with Indy. Like they are, it's one of the most critical pieces of feedback we've ever gotten as far as like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust anything this guy says now because I want that poster more than anything. And he
Right.
doesn't care. He says he's not impressed. How dare you, sir? So there is a indie,
Wow.
there's a contingency of people chasing indie that think you are off your rocker about
Could
that.
be. I hope I'm wrong. And I mean, even Furpo in one of our chats was like, run her like this and talk to me again. So even
Okay.
Furpo called me out on it. But so just point of clarity, I'm done. I don't have the League 23 tours unlocked. So I don't have anybody I'm able to fight there yet. I
Right.
probably will after this weekend. And there hasn't been a female focused event since I pulled her. So
Right.
I did take her 6-star silver.
Okay.
And then the only thing I've been able to use her on is the tour and her multiply move set. I don't have her gear, which makes her even better. Her multiply move set for me, I might have ran her wrong, only hit 12 million at 6-star silver, and that just does not do it. It just
I can't.
does not do it.
So, okay. So, to the community, Lee needs your help. If you know what it is that we're missing on Indy,
Right,
please let us know.
right.
Been wrong before. I guarantee we will be wrong again. Lee was wrong
Twice.
on Tech Gunther, at least initially.
Yeah, didn't
Someone
like Tech
showed
Gunther.
I was way wrong on Rock and Roman. Tupac
Yeah,
chimed up, showed me how to use him better. So we are definitely batting like even in the big leagues, if you bat 500, if you're 50%, you are an all-star hitter, right? But if you're,
yeah,
I mean, you're all world, you're the greatest hitter ever if you can do that. In the big leagues, the guys making the all-star team are usually about 1 and 3. They're batting like 333, and they're incredible hitters. I think our poster prediction and our poster analysis is higher than major league hitters. So I would say if Lee gets it wrong every once in a while, if I get it wrong a lot, which I will, I got some really negative feedback on my saying I wanted to take Acro Dominic 6-star gold. Like Merrick's
I wasn't
was
gonna say anything.
like Merrick said, bro, do you know how long it would take to do 60 million damage with Acro Dom? He's like,
Right.
it just won't happen. And you're always welcome to say like, that's a bad pick. And like, I think Acro Dom is a fun pick. I think he's a boss battle pick. I think he's a
Right.
tour pick. I think he's a blitz pick. He's not a 6-star gold feud meta pick
Mm.
at all. And I knew it when I said it. And I should have said, this is crazy. I'm not going to do this for real. But some people wanted me to check my meds when I said Acrotom. They're like, no, man, no, 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 no.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Well, so finishing out the other loop, it's Furpo said run the sub move set, but again, subs don't scale to 6-star gold the same way, 2.5 times nerf because 2.5 times more health. But that brings up a really good topic. This week we introduced a video series called "Should I Take Blank to
Right.
6-star gold?" And I don't think I've ever gotten more DMs, more
Mm,
comments, more things of like, hey, can you run this person? Can you run this person? Can
right.
So in the 6 silver, I want to remind people of something when we talk about how this game has evolved. In the 6 silver meta, it took an average of 3 months for even top players to take a character 6-star silver. Like that was the carrot, was can you get there? There
Interesting.
were people who took six. Now I'm talking about non-Hall of
No,
Fame, non-IOW.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm just active listening here. It took me longer, certainly.
Oh yeah.
Ghostbuster Cena was my first non Hall of Fame, non OW, and yeah, it probably took me longer than 3 months to get into silver. It took me a while.
Yep. Yeah. And there are people who did that a weekend now. In fact, I saw some feud lineups that included 6 female 6-star golds. So yeah, Yeah, so it's a hot
No
question. It's a hot
comment.
topic in the
No
community right now.
comment. That's insane, bro. That's crazy. That's
Right.
crazy because maybe I'm off here, Lee, but like I don't see females scaling the same. Females really need to be multiply gym based. Unless I like probably not all females, but like I'm not seeing the rate like Zombie Live is a great example of somebody that I'm being advised not to take to gold. And
I
I
got her on the
just
list for this
got her.
weekend.
I just got her. And she was the best female powerhouse in the game a month
She still
ago.
is.
And now I'm being told, don't take her to gold. What?
Right.
What? That's crazy talk.
Right.
So all this to say, you're really onto something with this question. Should I take blank to 6 gold? I think that is the reason this MLC is the most talked about. I don't know that it's necessarily okay. The posters are exciting, they're fun, they're great, they're fun to chase, they're fun to get shard drops of. The reformatting is different. People are learning it, people are growing, they're understanding more now. But the number one thing coming up in this MLC is I don't want to blow it. I don't want to make a wrong move. I don't want to get excited about Tech Cody and push up Tech Cody and then find out Tech Cody was the wrong choice. And then I'm out those tokens that were so hard to come by and so much
Right.
coin and so many shards. So the wrong move into 6 gold is a really, really scary cliff to fall
It could
off
be.
and could set you
It's
back months in your roster.
Yeah, especially so this is not a spoiler. I don't know this from Scopely. I just have a thought. But what if they gave us a good amount of gold tokens up front to kind of grease the wheels, and then the drip is going to slow down a
Oh,
lot
that's what I
for a
suspected
while.
too. And I suspected that from what my goldfish brain remembers of happening in 6 star silver. It feels like that happened once before where I got 2 batches of silver tokens for free. They sent out 2 classes of 10 and I got
Hmm.
those. And so that's why I took Ghostbuster Cena.
Forgot
I
about that.
automatically knew that these are the 2 classes I have to take up. And it took me a long time to get anything beyond those 2 free classes of when they came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that actually, but you're right. And I think that's so while people are like, ooh, I'm swimming in them now, people are going to just take up like their powerhouse brawn breaker. I don't know, or whatever. Maybe Road Dog. Maybe we'll, do a thing on him, power rate him this weekend. But they're going to take those up and go, ooh, I got my 6 star golds. And while we always say, hey, it's good to break the dam if you can, right? It's good to get into the meta. If you had like for example, here's one that I have right now in my mind, and they're actually 2 good options, so it's not the best of example, but so I almost have enough to take up a striker, and Zombie Sammy is the clear win right
Yeah.
there. However, I can't get focused striker shards. So, I mean, I've tried. I don't even have enough to take him to 6 star silver, which means I'd have to wait not only to take him 6 silver, but then again to 6 gold. So in the meantime, if I were to take up striker Ali, who I don't have gear for, but I do have the moment for, so
Same.
still really great, but gear
Same.
really makes him
Is he really
top,
great?
top, top. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
really good anyway.
Okay.
With the moment, especially, but gear was because it's +4 all MP, it's that
Yeah.
one. So if you have his gear, he is a clear choice, but I don't have his gear, so I can't get the most out of him. So do I just go ahead and take up Striker Ali now? I won't be upset with that because Striker Ali is great, but I really want Zombie Sammy. So what if I take up Striker Ali, who I love, but I actually don't use that much? I mean,
Right.
I do love the character, but he doesn't get I don't put him in a lot of things. But I would Zombie Sammy. So then let's say I take him up and I do get the shard, like I get a huge hit on shards, and I could take Zombie Sammy not only 6 silver but 6 gold immediately. But now the tokens are a month or two plus out.
Yes.
How am I going to feel about that?
Well, this is not just a hypothetical scenario, Lee. I took Cody Rhodes, Tech, finish the story, my favorite real life superstar, and one of my favorite posters, who I thought was one of my most powerful superstars. And I took him to gold the day before I pulled Charlotte.
Whoops.
So this is not a what if scenario.
Whoops.
Now I am, 6 tokens shy of pushing Charlotte to gold, which by comparison, Cody could have waited. Cody probably should have waited.
Agreed.
However, given what I had on my roster at the time, here's where I go. I don't know if it was the right decision. Why? Let's talk through why, because I think that's a helpful parameter. Lee,
Yeah.
I had some gear for Tech Cody. I had just maxed this MLC and gotten, now I'm going to talk through kind of a hybrid, some hypothetical, some true, but this is the conversation I'm reading on Discord through many Tech Cody owners. Okay. So I'm going to lay out a story that's based on truth, but not completely true for my roster.
Our truth.
I've got, I don't have the new story finished moment. I don't. That's so rare. But I do have Cody's showdown moment, and I do have Cody's
feud.
So Tech Cody isn't in the WrestleMania 38 moment. Unfortunately, that came out before he came out. So Striker Cody's in that moment, but Tech not, right? So I don't have a feud moment for him. Let's say I have his Christmas gear, boost multiplies. Let's say I have the 100% gym damage strap from December that I got off the Kaiser Ludwig prize wall. Let's say I have a Hunter's medallion plate that I just got from maxing this MLC. Let's say I have a full set of Fury 2s on him, and I don't have Sherry, but I've got Matt Hardy, right? So I've got a multiply trainer, and I've got Memrock, and I've got all of the goods, all of the ingredients that would make him hit consistently for 35 million to maybe tap into 40, 45 million with the right board and the right scenario.
At gold or at silver?
At gold.
Oh, well, that's different.
At gold, right?
Okay.
So now I've brought him up. I've got all the pieces. I'm excited. And I went, that was only 35 million. And I'm hearing Professor and Merrick's and Lee say 60 million is the mark. I'm doing 50% of that to 66% of it at best of what I could be doing. And did I make the right or the wrong choice? And let's specifically talk about Tech Cody, because he's a wildly popular poster that many are asking, do I push up? Lee, give me your take on knowing all of that in advance. If someone has all of those pieces, what's your advice to the Tech Codyers of the world? Hitting 35 and maybe at best 45 million, and with all weather conditions favorable.
One might call them the Cody crybabies, maybe. Anyway, I
don't know if that's a term anymore after what happened with the final boss, because the final boss crybabies far exceeded anything that's ever happened in Cody world. So
wow, you're gonna get hate mail now, Rusty. I'm just saying, brother.
Just saying, right? How fitting is it that Final Boss was the superstar to cause all the chaos? I was like, well, I guess that Cody Crybaby thing isn't real anymore, because now we got a whole new term. I don't even know what to call them. So Final Boss,
the Final Boss babies,
the Final Boss freakouts is what it was.
Oh, that's a good. I was thinking, Boss Baby, the DreamWorks thing,
yeah.
Final Boss babies. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so Yes, and this is some of the feedback we've gotten on the should you take blank to 6-star gold videos is I've mentioned like, okay, for example, most of the free to play B tiers that I've done those videos on with the right stuff, Showboat KO included, hit around 20 million. That seems to be like, I mean, almost all of them I was able to hit right in that 20. Now,
At,
some people have said, what's that?
just at gold.
At 6 gold. Yeah, everyone
Okay.
in that series is a 6 gold. I
Okay.
only do them when I can be on the candy store because I
Okay.
don't want to guess and say, oh, this would hit roughly double. Like it just shows exactly what it'll
Right.
hit. So I can only do them on Fridays because that's the only time I have access to that account, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. But just to explain for those who are like, can you do this? I get one day, one
and,
day to do it.
and really a
So,
few hours based on our
right,
stream and your life and carpool and
right.
all the real life details.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So to that, I mentioned 20 million is okay, but you're going to take at least 3 turns at least. And if you're talking Hall of Fame Rey Mysterio at 6-star gold with his max levels, he has over 100 million health. So you're talking 5, 6 turns at least. For some people, that's not a problem at all. That's like, okay, cool, whatever. If you're feuding, one of the metrics in our power rating system that Tubob helped us establish, that BDC helped us establish specifically on that category, is to be a top tier character they need to be able to finish a feud match in 45 seconds or less. And to some people, that's like,
Right.
but
And
for a large portion of the community, that is spot on.
the guys that are chasing a leaderboard, that's their metric, right? If you
Right.
ever wondered, what do those leaderboard guys do that I don't do? Well, that's part of it. And Lee
Yeah.
Kites, one asterisk, one gentle asterisk that I would place next to your, oh, it may take 6 turns to do that.
Right.
We've never seen health steal like we're seeing from Final Boss and
Mm,
Charlotte.
right.
If your opponent can steal health and regenerate, and you're up against them with a showboat KO, you have a water
Yikes.
gun against a 5 alarm fire. You will not be able to put it out. No matter how many turns you get, it is your slow, inevitable knockout that is coming. Um, just to say, because Final Boss Triple Yellow, you do 10 million, he will snatch it
He'll
back.
steal twice that back. Yeah.
He won't blink an eye against that.
Right.
And
And you will.
it.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Well, and to that conversation, I know this is a portion of the community that doesn't represent a larger portion of the community, so to speak, but in some feud conversations over the last week, one of the conversations was this character can win a match in 8 seconds. So they are my go-to. Like so those top end players are counting the exact number of seconds it takes to win. However, for the majority of the community,
That's
we're
wild.
going, okay, so if not KO, Cody Rhodes. If Cody Rhodes does 35 million turn one and recycles, then that's almost guaranteed to be a 2-turn win.
No
And
doubt.
AI doesn't tend to hit the nuclear button super quick. Like usually against AI. Now, if they have a sub, they do tend to go towards that, blah, blah, blah. But you can.
AI Mello will knock you out completely perfectly every
Oh
time.
my gosh. Yeah.
Force close if you get stun locked against Mello. You will not get a turn. So
Yeah, pro tip by the way, because I mean that's something before being in a higher feuding faction, I just let it sit and just let it go. Like legitimately
yeah,
force close the game and reopen. You lose the match, who
recover.
cares? You're
You
gonna lose it
cannot
anyway.
recover
Get
from it.
quick.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't
Just
recover.
yeah, you get 1 HP, that character's gone, or you can try if you can turn one somebody else with them, great.
Right.
But yeah, so let's say you do 35 million and you can recycle because that's an important metric. If you do 35 million and then you have to build back for 3 or 4 turns before you can hit your moves, that's a different story. But flawless recycle, Cody Rhodes has that. That's okay. That is not bad by any means. It's just not turn one. But here's the thing we've been seeing on our videos is a lot of people saying, hey, not everybody needs to be turn one. And I agree.
Come
I
on.
agree that.
This is important. We're about to have some important dialogue here that if you're put off by everything we've said before, I'm not a whale, I'm not a leaderboard guy, I don't care about this conversation. We're about to bring some good news and some nuance into
Right.
this conversation. Let me just say this, Lee. You can, with low damage, we're saying low, 35 to 40 million,
Right. Sounds crazy.
if you have one of those phenomenal well, I use that's a descriptor. If you have like Judgment Day plate or the Veer
Oof.
plate, if you
Oof.
can reduce their kick out ability, if you have a
Right.
60% armor strap with armor medals, maybe, right? Maybe. So there is some nuance there too to say, well, I can only hit 40 million with Final Boss, but I don't think they can kick out. Like
Right.
I don't, or Dakota Kai. Just this is a random example, but
Non-drip coda.
triple purple, you got the whole board covered with botch gems. They're probably not kicking out. They're probably not going to be able to swipe enough damage with 49 botch gems on the board. Um, but that's a very, very, very particular set of circumstances to what we're talking about. So Lee,
Yeah.
you said, but we don't need to turn one, right? But like there
Right.
is hope for those of
Yeah.
us who do not have Santa Hogan at 17K. So
Still ice coming.
my potential for turn one feuding is very small from the get-go. So my style of feud is to use turn one sub to load the board, and then turn two, try to destroy the board. A great example would be a zombie Gunther. He's a great feuder for me because I'm going to pull down my opponent's MP. I'm going to set up my silence gems. I'm going to turn them all purple and I'm going to refill. And if that didn't TKO them, turn two, I'm going to do it, right? Or I'm going to just repeat that. And it's quick.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, that's the hack to not having Santa Hogan and not being having the possibility to turn one 8 second, turn one 45 second a guy.
Right. Well, and that's a good point. I mean, like I say, the turn one thing is a metric for a portion of the community for sure, but that's not everybody. And if you're not, let me just put it this way, if you're not chasing leaderboards, you're probably okay. So this
Yeah.
scrolls back into, we never did circle back on the boss battle version of this, but we did a few deep dive with some new metrics for us. And one of the things we said is you should be in, if you're in a top faction, you need to clear your entire feud lineup in 10 minutes, period. So that's a metric for the top. That doesn't mean that's everybody. In a lower, like maybe top 50 faction, maybe it's like, hey, you need to be able to do this in 15 minutes. In a 100 or sub 100 faction, they probably are okay with you taking the entire time as long as you're actively fighting. If you're just sitting there, that's a different story. If you're blocking the lane, that's a different story. So just be aware, it goes back to the faction conversation we have all the time. Know the faction you're in and know the faction you want to be in. If you are in a sub 100 faction, but you're clearing your lanes in 5 to 10 minutes, you're probably in the wrong faction because you are far outpacing the other ones on your team.
You'll be
However,
frustrated with your
if you're in a
team.
top faction and you're taking 15 minutes, you are seen as the problem. It's not that one's like they are so, how dare they, and I'm so right. It's just those are kind of the way the breakdowns go. Top factions,
Yeah.
10 minutes, that's what you got. Medium factions, 15 maybe, and then go from there.
And so you have to consider if you're a slower feuder, that means you're costing your feud mate points, right? If they're
And your team.
their line and you're not finished with yours, they can't start another feud. Thus, they're
Right.
losing. Let's say it takes you the full 30 to finish that feud or the full 20. Like you just cost them 4 million war score because they would have
Or
been able
more.
to finish multiple feuds in the time that it
Right.
took you to final boss down your opponent. So,
Right. Right. Yeah. So that is real. So turn one isn't necessary, but it's a good feud metric for sure. Outside of that, I mean, turn one in. I mean, it's nice. So it's nice. Let's talk about this. It's nice and it's a curse at the same time. Like Extreme Rules was this with the tours, right? Came out yesterday. Going to be some more
Yeah.
today as of recording. And it's been green, technician required green. So I took Neidhart to 6 gold, and I've had a couple people say, "Hey, you specifically said don't take move damage guys to 6 gold, and you took Hall of Fame Neidhart." And I said, "Yes, I wanted to show that there's an exception to the rule, and this proved it because tech were required. And if you turn one, a 50 million health guy, which I don't want to say, I don't want Scopely to hear this, but they probably need to increase the 50 million to 100 million if they're really wanting him to be extreme rules. But anyway, but Neidhart easily turn one's 50 million, easily turn one's 50 million. So I did not play Extreme Rules. I played 9 very quick tours. That was it. I was done. Literally, it took me 15 minutes and I was done with the whole event
They
until
up
today
those
it
to
reset.
100 million. I'm gonna be really sad.
But with those buffs, I mean, I did go back through and do like Tech Cody was one of the requirements, and you put the immobile gym down. With that buff, once you get out of that first extreme cycle, if you hit the, success on the little bar right there, then it buffs everything so much that you
I
beat
like
them right
that.
away then.
I do like the
Yeah,
buff. That's pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah. So
Lee,
with that buff, 100 million wouldn't be insane, but Extreme Rules is a little in terms
so
of
you've
like you just
said
beat it.
something about 6 gold feud without directly saying it. You've said it, but you haven't said it this clearly. So for clarification, you're okay with endorsing a superstar that can deal 30, 35, maybe even 40 million damage in a feud at 6 gold if they can close it out turn two,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, I've heard you say all of those things. So putting it together is to say this: your best, if your best is Zombie Gunther, right? And he's the one that can deal 30 million and flawlessly recycle. Maybe you even have the plate for him, right? You've got
I
the
don't.
right stuff. Let's say you have the right stuff. Here's a great example. I've got Striker Andre is
Mm,
my Frankenstein that no one sees coming. They see
fitting.
Striker Andre and they think, he's old, he's not good. Well, Striker Andre has had pretty significant upgrades from his moments. WrestleMania 1 Ali moment takes away 50% gym damage that he receives. WrestleMania 2 moment that I'm chasing is going to buff him even more. So he's able to do both move damage and gym damage because of his moments.
Yeah, I
And they're
like it.
multiply gyms, right?
Right.
And I've got Fury 2. So I've got the pieces. I don't know that I will consistently turn one someone with Andre, but he flawlessly recycles and he's good in a strike. Let me read you my strikers. I sent this list last night to a trusted friend to say, what do I do about striker? Right? Because I'm kind of thin at the position. So my strikers are Bradshaw, my top, Bradshaw,
Good.
Final Boss,
Okay.
Ali, no gear,
Yeah. No.
Terry Funk, Butch,
No.
and Striker Andre.
Okay.
Um, because of the moments that I had. See, I don't have a braid plate and I don't have an acolyte plate for Bradshaw, right? I don't have the Final Boss botch plate. I don't have Ali's gear. Terry Funk feels a little underwhelming, maybe. Butch also, he's not gonna turn even at 6 silver, he wasn't turn wanting in feud.
Right.
Um, but then I've got Roxanne and Sonia also. So I sent this list and I was
Jerk.
like, so who's the pick? And they're like, oof, right? Lee, what do you think about that list? What's the pick?
Well, I mean, obviously, I mentioned that Ali is mine, and like you, I've got the moment, don't have the gear. So I may be taking him up. With the next talent up. So if you give me 2 weeks, I can answer that question better.
You
I
have a
can do a
plate?
video.
Does he have a
What's that?
special? Do you have a special plate on him that's
Hmm.
needed? What's the
Yeah,
plate
he's
for?
got a few. Well, it depends on how you run him. So with
Oh,
gear, you would run him his multi-gym setup, black, black, red, or whatever it is. Without gear, it really makes more sense to run him triple red. But we had people in our faction, I think it was the Creed was showing us, a couple others were showing us, like with triple red, he hits insane. He still hits really hard. But again, the
NWO
gear is
plate?
the
Or what do you use?
no,
Triple.
no, you use either the Heart of Jade or the Z plate for
Oh,
him.
okay, I have Z. Okay, that's hopeful.
Yeah, Heart of Jade hits harder, but
Heart of
Z
Jade.
plate is fine too. It works on both. And then you can also stack that with anything that is break red, make another color, just to throw more, like
Right.
if you got a break red, make black, or break red, make blue.
Like an ultimate
Um,
plate, like a
yeah,
Pity the Fool or something like that.
yeah, that's exactly the right one. So I moved my Pity the Fool off of Hogan. I still want to build Powerhouse Hogan, but that's going to take some time. So I just moved it over to. So out of those, Ali is still my pick. I don't have Striker Andre, so I can't speak to that at all.
Okay.
Butch, and then this is going to turk some people off, I think, but a lot of the chase characters in Scopely's mind, not in reality for us, but in Scopely's mind, the chase characters are considered free characters. I know, just hold on. Because they're obtainable through doing the events, or at least low cost to entry characters might be the best way to put it. And so oftentimes, with the exceptions of your KOs, maybe Powerhouse Brawn, definitely Acro Rhea, they also don't scale between metas as well as the paid characters. And that is what it is. And I
Hmm.
don't totally disagree that that's the way it should be. I think it's good to get those S tiers, get them on your roster. So, that being said, Butch was of the meta and was very good in his meta. And of course, Eyes of Judgment, those type things, you can still do
Right.
amazing things.
Hmm.
But I would say he doesn't scale really even past half six bronze into six silver. So definitely not there,
So
unless you've got some tricks. Final
arguably,
boss
final
is
boss would be the same.
yeah, he's okay. I mean, but again, and this is another one of the things I love about the new format change is the chase characters considered A tier. Because before what we got was the chase that again, with some exceptions,
Hmm.
tend to actually act more like A tiers sometimes. And I know A tier means shard rarity, but it does have some other significance. And so just calling him an A tier flat out tells you like he's good, he's not going to hold up like your S tiers will. And it is proving to be more true as they do this new rework. And I like that. So yeah, final boss. Well, of course, he was made for the 6-star gold meta.
Right.
Still doesn't quite hit top end of 6-star gold meta, which A tier, that's a designation that helps. That's to say
I think
he's
I
not meant
really
to.
like so I think I really like the thought of him being 6 gold on my roster for the AI to play my feud opponent, but not
Yeah,
for me to feud with. I think I like the thought of him being 6 gold on my showdown defense
right.
to just simply be left alone.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know if that's justifiable yet. Like I don't know to say like, well, this guy's a placeholder, uh,
right.
but I
We'll
probably won't
see.
use him to get points.
Right.
That doesn't seem.
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to what we were just talking about before. And I said this when he came out. I said, Rusty, I think you're really going to like this character
I
because he's
do.
defensive and he is
Uh,
defensive class. Because not only does he steal your health, he subs you down, which can reload that cycle and you don't ever have to hit the finisher, or you hit the
right.
finisher and you break all the yellow gems. Triple yellow is
It's really
easy
fun.
mode. You're
It's really
going to
fun.
win. It just takes time.
And you can buff those yellow gems.
You
I just
can.
don't like
Then you take away from the steel health, which is really where he shines.
right. And that's where the debate is like, do I want a 100% gem damage strap on Final Boss or do I want a 60% um gem do I want 100% gem damage or a 60% gem defense strap
Yeah.
on a character like that? the mental gymnastics that I've been doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's your play style, right? But again, goes back to even in the last meta, final boss breaks the entire board or give or take with his finisher yellow once, but breaking the board, the entire thing once in 6-star gold is not that much. It's like 3 million
Yeah, it's
damage,
fun in
which
boss
used to
battle.
be huge.
You know, you can pull down a shield in boss battle and spam
Yeah.
it the way you can with Hall of Fame Shawn Michaels, right? He's just
Right.
boss battle all-star for me. He
Oh
just
yeah.
you know, if it's a yellow shield, HBK is going to be on the job.
Right. And
Um,
imagine in boss battle with final boss or Charlotte, if you get her to that 80 million health steal, where, yeah, you might be getting hit for 10 million per turn, but you're stealing 20, 30, 40. Yeah, I mean, you're just like stealing back all your health. Final
yeah,
boss just stays in the match forever. It's like when I had I mean, I still have Knoxville, but Knoxville in his meta was the guy. And I could literally make a boss battle go where I never lost health. I couldn't win it by myself, but I could stay in the match. I literally one
yeah,
time stayed in the match so long that it booted me because it was like this went on too long. It was like 30 minutes or whatever it was. It was like,
yeah.
I'm
Timed
sorry, you've
out.
hit the max time. Yeah, I didn't know you could get timed out. But with Knoxville, I could just recycle health endlessly.
Wild.
Final boss is going to be that guy. Charlotte, if you have the tricks, could be that girl.
So,
Although I'm really partial to triple blue with Charlotte, if I
so,
ever get her.
so, from all those names I've listed, let's use me as an example to the
Okay.
community. Would you say, hey, you probably don't want to take any of those gold. You probably just want to wait. You probably want to save those tokens because your best may not be good enough at this point.
Eh,
Is that
maybe.
like
I,
level with shoot straight with me? What would if you were my roster coach? Would
sure.
you say push up the best of the worst, or would you
Ha!
say why don't you wait and see what else happens in this 6 gold meta? Because next month's free striker, allegedly, right? Whoever, let's say next month had a free trickster, free powerhouse, right?
Right.
They might be better than your best from the
Maybe
older
Andrade
metas,
sucks.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Andrade, I don't care for him.
I
Um,
know. I got his
so
gear too, and I'm like, "Ah, that's so beautiful. I'm never gonna use it. Anyway, beyond this month. But anyway, well, who knows? Again,
try
a
to hold
plate could
out.
change anybody. So for me, I no, I wouldn't say those are bad options. I'm gonna make a video on Bradshaw. That's one of my goals for this Friday. I think he'll hold. I think he'll do great. Ali, again, I mean, in the conversation we're having, I've already said I'm considering Ali even without gear because I think
Yeah.
he's gonna make it.
Why
Andre, I just don't know about.
why didn't no
I've never
one why
used
was
him.
no one talking about Ali before? Like I never heard him brought up until recently. Is it the moment?
Well, it's the gear and the moment, but so many people did not get the gear that did get the moment. Even though the moment was still super rare, it was more obtainable than the gear was
You
at
had
the
to
time.
choose. You could kind of get one or the other. Um,
Yeah, but the moment helped so many people.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that was an insane moment. That was almost a Piper versus Piper plate kind of decision right there. So I'm not trying to salt the wound, Rusty. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the worst choices I've ever made in this game was choosing Piper Nevin's poster over I could have had a Sheik plate, I could have had a
Yeah.
Piper's plate, I could have had a lot of better things.
Yeah. And if you remember, we did an episode where you defended that vehemently because your female roster where it was like you
Yep.
gave every
Yep.
reason why that was the right choice. Go back in our episode archive. I think
Oh,
in fact I know that would not be on YouTube. That's only going to be on the audio
and what
podcast.
I
So go
knew of
back.
the game at the time, my defense came out of my own ignorance because I would have said, well, I don't even have a superstar this Piper plate could go on. So,
Right.
what good is that going to do me as a free to play player to have something in my inventory that I can never use? Because my assumption was it's always going to be like this. I'm
Right.
always going to be on the struggle bus, that I'm never going to improve to keep up with the meta. That was the incorrect assumption.
Yeah.
And it was made largely out of my own naivete. So,
Hmm. Pretty weird. Good word. Yeah, but that is, I mean, so I saw a meme recently. It said, "Hey, give grace to your former self that you're looking back on and going, oh, that idiot. They should have made different choices because
Right.
you made the best choice you could make with the information you had at the time." And that's pretty
Yeah.
true. So,
Yeah, and there's others that have bemoaned their own choices on that, but also other in-game decisions. We all kind of have those in-game decisions, and yet we're not where we were when that decision was made. We always seem to kind of move past it, right?
yeah,
So we don't want to necessarily have this delusion that, well, if I just would have made that choice then things would
right.
be so much better for me now. Kind of like that Back to the Future syndrome. Like there's no guarantee that you'd be in any different place than you currently are, based on that decision tree. Like it wouldn't necessarily have gotten you, to 20 million roster just
Right.
because of one choice that you missed out on. Uh,
Yep.
so your six gold series is going to continue. Do you have any?
Hour.
Well, yeah, it's under the Champions Chat brand. Uh, it, do you have any other takes, advice, info on, as you're thinking about who to take to gold? Keep this in mind.
Right.
Besides what you've already shared, is there anything you still would say like, but don't forget about this?
Well, yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say is even when it comes to completely free to play characters, things like that, one plate, one gear, one moment, one rework could completely change for the positive. And I know the rework community just went, "Arr," but could change that to where tomorrow I'm going, oh my gosh, Showboat KO with this new plate is actually better than William Regal or whatever. So just be aware, like if you make a choice, try to make the best choice you can going to 6-star gold with the information you have, and then don't bemoan it. Don't go back and go, oh gosh, I really shouldn't have
Yeah,
taken Nia Jax 6-star gold. But congratulations to our guy who won him, or her. That was awesome.
yeah. What a wild giveaway. And who knows, maybe we'll be allowed to give away more asinine articles of yesteryear within the game on Friday nights. Lee and I are having a ton of fun on Twitch. We'd love for you to join us on stream. We're on the Champions stream. And so it's twitch.tv/WWE Champions. Friday nights at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And we have done, I think, some really helpful, but also some so like right there's this line, Lee, of like good information and just good entertainment. So we're like infotainment, right? Kind of like the
Oh,
cable
wow.
news, kind of like mainstream media. We're infotaining people, right?
Yay.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I think it is like this weekend in particular, we're going to power rate Rex Regum and we're going to power rate Showboat Road Dog. Somebody asked, like, is that just so that you'll force Scopely to do a re? Why in the world would you do that? I was like, no, because this helps to prove the system.
Yeah.
Plus, legitimately, like, if you watch that video, I could not stop laughing during the Powerhouse Naya power rating.
So
And the fact that there are now 8 out of 25s, which was hotly contested. Nobody wanted her to be above a 5. The fact that there are eight out
yeah,
of
yeah.
25s, whenever we put out a 24 out of 25, we have not yet hit a 25 out of 25. That just proves that it's not just
Charlotte
every,
was very close and could have been
I thought she should have
potentially.
been personally,
Yeah.
but
Same with
the
Monica.
community
He
spoke
was
and
really close. Vader was
yeah,
really close. A lot of times it
yeah,
just comes down to entourage ability at the.
yeah.
So Lee, let me ask you this: shifting gears a little bit from the 6-star who to take. This is week 3. Today is the end of week 3 in MLC points. It's Thursday, March 23rd,
Oh, yeah.
meaning week 3 solo chase will come to a close. Weekend event will start on Friday at reset. I'm noticing that people aren't. Let me ask you, true or false? People aren't as behind at this point in the MLC as they were last month. Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Will more people max this month than last month? And if so, what's the difference? Or is there a difference you're seeing? And I don't know, just thoughts on
Yeah.
week 3
Well,
pay.
again, what I really like about this MLC format is it opened the door to the not just the top end players, but the medium and low spend or low grind players
End.
to where. No, I was gonna say low end. That sounds bad. Our low rent scrubs and
I was just
scragglers
thinking
out
about my
there.
end. Is my end medium or is my end low? Is my end top? Yeah. So
Anyway, yeah. So, but if you got 3 MLC emblems or whatever, you could get a
right.
6-star bronze Grayson Waller. That is a really good entry point for a lot of people. Like if you don't have a lot of 6-star bronzes already, you could do that. Or if you get 4, and this is the difference again, you're not getting the new character. 4 of them guarantees you a 6-star gold character. They just, if unless you accidentally hit the featured in that, it's going to be an A tier. May not be the best character, but it probably could be the best character for you. So for the top end,
Or
shards is the only way forward. That's what you're chasing. For everybody else, that still matters. You can still get 1 of 3 characters off the prize wall. One of which is guaranteed 6-star, which that's never happened before.
right.
Usually you have to shard recruit to even get 5 gold. Now you're getting a 6-star, or you can go for this loot that is spin the wheel, make a deal, but it
Or
has a pretty good deal.
I took neither of those choices.
Ooh,
I took the plate. I wanted the
that's
100
right.
medallion plate. Never, to my knowledge, has a premium plate been guaranteed as a choice for those that reach the max. Now, I've let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I maxed the MLC already. This is week
Yeah, I did too.
3. I did max. I was surprised that my pace was so far ahead. I did the kickoff pass. So, yes, I got a head start on the month, but that is exactly what the blog said would happen, that you can play for the entire month and it will come down to the end as to whether or not you max, or you can accelerate your pace through in-game purchases. And that is,
Right.
I found that claim to be true. Bought the
Same.
kickoff pass. I've done some pulls. I
Yep.
nothing crazy, right? Nothing like excessive, but Lee did some excessive, but
A little bit.
but I found that promise to be true, that if you
Yeah.
spend, you will accelerate the contest. Um,
Right.
and so I maxed in week 3, and it felt
Same.
really good to be able to claim a plate. I hope they continue a la the conversation that we had about Piper Nevin. I will never make that choice again. And that's why I did not choose the random gold superstar from the pull, because I did not want a Tech Drew fuse, right? I wanted the bird in the hand, the hunter's medallion to put on Cody Rhodes. I did
Yeah.
not want a chance at Solo Sokoa, because I also have more of a chance at people I don't want, right? Like,
Right.
and I don't even know who's in that loot. Let's say Hall of Fame Bret Hart. Let's say if that was the hit,
Yeah.
I would feel terrible thinking
Right.
I could have had the plate. I did it again. I
Right.
did. I made the stupid choice again. I would not
Well,
have been able to deal, because now let me say this. Let me throw some salt back to the 7th anniversary. I swore in my mind, in my heart, and in my faction Discord that I was going to get something good out of the guaranteed 6-star silver anniversary prize wall. You get 1 coin if you
right.
pick up all 7 superstars to 6-star gold. So I was like, I'm getting plates. I'm getting this coin. This is going to be the best month ever. And I got Tech Drew, and it was terrible. It felt Terrible. I was so mad at myself that I had invested so much to get to that finish line of texture.
Right.
So I don't want the point until, if they're going to keep offering plates, I'm going to take the plate, because I am not going to be, I don't care, bro. If you show me a screenshot of you pulling Solo Sokoa from that loot, cool, good for you. That's no guarantee that I would do that, right?
True.
So I'm taking the plate. I want the bird in my hand. Give me a plate any day.
Well, you know what I did this month that may have been
I don't
a
know.
big oopsie.
I actually don't know.
You don't know. So I was 100 shards away from Rock, and if I used one of them, I would be able to get his early rewards for that his weekend event. And I went ahead and did it. So I have no path forward to 4 emblems anymore. I took 1 coin,
So
I
you
took
get no
Rock.
plate.
So I get no plate,
You
I
get
get no
no
6-star
gold.
gold coins
Oh, oh,
unless
oof.
see, I am going to max that event. So that'll at least give me 2. So I will
Because
at
you
least get a
wanted a
6-star
because you
gold.
wanted a victory tour, or what?
Oh,
What?
well, it was not just the victory tour, it was all of the rewards from that showdown weekend that Rock got
Oh,
you.
the premium showdown plus the
Right.
prize ball.
Plus
So
the
that
prize
ultimately
wall.
got you the nearing end plate, right?
Correct, which
So
I
you
did
so
get.
okay. So in
Yeah.
reality, you did get a plate by
Right.
taking those shards through
Right.
gameplay, through spending, through,
Yep.
okay. So there is a miles, there
I
is
did
more
get
to this.
something, yes,
And it's a
but I
good thing. It's a
cannot get the
really good
Cody
thing.
plate. And
Well, you got
what's
nearing
that?
end. You got a nearing
Right.
end, right? And that's a great
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah. I
okay.
did. Yeah, and several Zorro and Benny have been showing us a lot. Benny follow Sir Zorro, Benny Smaja Gaming have
Oh,
been showing us a lot of like, hey, if you use it on this person. In fact, now again, I don't have any of the double MP people, but Benny showed a
oh,
video of Striker Honky Tonk as the meta defining character. If you have the nearing end and either Mellow or Breaker, whichever one does double MP for
yeah.
him.
Gosh, those double MP. I wish I would have went way harder in that NXT month after
I
those
know.
dual MP
Hindsight,
guys.
right?
Um, I
I
got
hope they come
Roxanne through
back.
a lucky pull, but yeah, I hope those other MP trainers are in the future loot. If you're watching us from Scopely Land, which I doubt,
All the way from Scopely HQ.
yeah, if anybody's there, give us a chance at Braun Breaker again. Give us a chance at
Oh,
Mel.
he's in the 6 gold loot. Braun Breaker is.
Really
But the odds of him are probably,
minuscule, I'm sure.
yeah, who knows? But Roxanne is my whale now. Like people always ask marriage if you Merrick's, if you had a partridge, who would you take? For me, it's 100% Roxanne now because I have at least 3 of my top
Like
characters.
Fatu, right? Is one or
No, Fatu, I
uh,
run triple green, but
oh,
Zombie Sammy, is
oh,
one
okay,
right off the bat. If I had Zombie Sammy, I'm sorry, if I had Roxanne, Zombie Sammy would be boom, instant as soon as I could take him
yeah.
up. But I don't. So anyway, we're running on time, so we'll move on.
Well, Lee, this Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, is what used to be called Crown Jewel, and it used to be
Oh,
a low stakes house show. Now it has been rebranded as King and Queen of the Ring, live from Saudi Arabia. It is now a high stakes PLE, and it is one of the shows that is just before Money in the Bank and just before SummerSlam. So we could get
hmm.
some real storyline setups. We could get some real, hey, this is gonna, kind of tilt the dominoes and they're gonna start to fall at other PLEs. I'm gonna pull up the card and I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this Saturday's PLE in Jeddah. Before I get the
Sounds good.
pulled up, it looks like, and we'll even start with this undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes versus United States champion Logan Paul. And I believe
Yep.
this is a winner gets both belts match, is it not? or
They
no?
change. That's so that this is my that this one move made the pay whatever you call them now, premium live event, lose a lot of steam for me, just because originally it was winner takes all. So either Logan wins and surprises the world and becomes the WWE champion, or Cody becomes a Grand Slam champion. That was a great story, but I think they
Oh,
realized that they booked themselves into a corner. So they did a
right.
segment where Logan Paul's lawyer came out and said, I'm
Okay.
sorry, the WWE title can't be on, or the United States title can't be on the line. So now it almost feels like a foregone conclusion that it's probably going to be an insanely good match, like surprisingly good match, but Cody's going to win.
Mm.
We did in our last video, if you watched that, a breakdown why Logan Paul should win, and I still
In
hold by
your
that.
opinion, why Logan Paul should win?
I still hold to that
Yeah.
that
Oh my
Logan Paul
gosh.
should dethrone Cody, because Cody at this point doesn't have a benefit from having a long title reign. I mean,
Right.
it would suck if it was 2 days or whatever, but he's had some wins. He beat AJ Styles. He did some things. They could move the belt off of him, and Cody's story is complete. They're not like, we're in bonus innings now, pal,
Right.
but if Logan Paul won the title, which still could happen, I just think the chance of it now is that big. But what if they set up a big swerve? It's not going to happen. But what if they set up a big swerve? If Logan Paul won the belt, it would take the notoriety of WWE even up a higher level in the non-wrestling watching public's eyes, who are like, oh, Logan Paul is the what? And he's good?
Yeah, well,
What?
and then the opposite side of the coin is, or would that diminish the credibility of the actual in-ring talent, right? To have this outsider that didn't go through developmental come in and win
Right.
two titles, you know?
Right.
I could see the old dogs in the business really not liking that, the boys in the back, as they say. Maybe I'm wrong.
Logan Paul's better than you, old dogs in the back. He
Well,
proved himself in a
that
year
very
that
well
did
might be
more
true,
in his career in a year than you did in 10 years
and
of
that
yours. And I
very well
don't mean
might
that
be
as
true.
shade.
Yeah, but you know this, Lee. They protect the business. Like that's always been true.
Right.
What's best for business, protect the business. There's a reason Undertaker said recently, I don't feel comfortable on my own podcast because for decades I protected this character. No
Right.
public sightings, no signings, no autographs, no, there's no hidden, behind the scenes footage. It is Undertaker comes and goes. He's an enigma. And so now for him to be Mark with a podcast and just, John about store, like he just says, like, I'm so uncomfortable because this
Right.
goes against everything I was taught and everything I believe about this business, you
Hey,
know?
Mark with a podcast. We would love to see you come on Champions Chat, and
Oh
we
my
would take
gosh.
good care of you because you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
legitimately the S plus tier of
Yeah.
wrestling.
We'll help
But
you.
aside from the Undertaker, if you
Yeah.
if you were to look at anybody below that S plus tier, your Hogans, your Shawn Michaels, your Bret Harts, your Ric Flairs, your Rock, Austin, keep going, keep going, keep going. If you're in that mid tier of wrestler, Logan Paul came in with no training and did more and better than almost every wrestler before
It's
him.
true.
It's just crazy.
He's better on the mic than Ricochet can ever hope to be. And he's
Oopsie.
in ring as good as not Ricochet, but most high
Top tier guys.
flyers. Like he's doing moves maybe better than Jey Uso. Like
Oh, easy.
he's
Easy.
yeah, he's very athletic and
Right.
he's a great heel. Like I love to
He
not
is.
like him. I love,
Right.
and that's what you need from a heel champ. You need to hate his guts. He needs to make you feel something. And
Ooh.
I like Logan Paul and I like A Town Down Under as well. I like this little pretty boy faction that's coming together in this little alliance. So Lee, what's your pick
Wait.
after all this? What's your pick and what's your
I,
take? Let's hear it.
I have one thing to say that
Yeah.
I might regret, and my goodness, watch this go viral. Logan Paul is this generation's Roddy Piper.
Huh.
Like he gets that kind of heat. He knows how to make you hate him, and yet he's so good you can't
Yeah,
deny
he
him.
does. He does work a crowd. Logan Paul works a crowd, and it's real heat. It's not the heat that Dominic's getting. That's heat that the business kind of pushed his way.
Right.
Gets real heat, real animosity, and
Yep.
there's an emotional connection with that. It's fun to boo Dominic because it's fun to boo Dominic. You don't
Right.
actually hate Dominic. You're not invested in that heat that you're giving Dominic. It's just the thing to do, right?
Unless you're Iron Sheik 84 and then you legitimately don't like him. But my pick,
It's on your family,
unfortunately now,
Mysterio from Iron Sheik 84.
right. My pick, unfortunately, now is Cody Rhodes. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I legitimately think it should be Logan Paul. I think that would be the right decision for the business
Huh.
and the elevate. This is like a Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 1. He was in Rocky, bringing the superstars kind of level moment. And
Okay.
that's what the previous owner did to make the company go up here.
So
However, Cody's going to win since
yeah,
they changed the story.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Cody's gonna win. Cody's gonna get cheated by A Town Down Under. Cody might get smacked with Nux. Um, Jay Uso may come to help him. That may set up a feud with Uso versus Logan Paul.
Yep.
There's going to be something, like I said, tilting the dominoes. This is just going to be the first domino that falls into the others. But I do think this is going to be a future storyline match. But I think
Mm,
this storyline of Cody versus Logan ends in Jeddah. Uh,
right.
what do you think about Becky Lynch, women's world champion, versus Liv Morgan on the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour?
I am saddened. Becky is the greatest female wrestler ever, period. Come
Wow.
at me.
Wow.
And and public opinion on her has shifted because she's won so much. Like there was a poll on WWE
Yeah.
YouTube that was like, who do you want to win this weekend, Becky or Liv? Liv was like 60 something percent.
Right.
Becky was in the 30% range. To me, Liv's great. She's fun. She's whatever. She's a great B player.
She's okay.
Becky is the GOAT.
She's okay.
But
She's fine. I mean,
so
she's like, yeah, you
yeah,
said it. She's a support character. She's a support cast. She's
yeah.
not a main eventer. They tried to make her a main eventer.
They didn't do her any favors with her matches though. So
I know.
that, I mean, the booking on her was terrible. So maybe with good booking, maybe she
I
could.
don't know that she has it.
She's good.
I don't know.
So
I don't know that she is good in ring. Like maybe I'm wrong. Like I would say she's fair in ring, but I think Zoe Stark is more
yeah,
proficient in ring than Liv. I think
right.
Baszler is more proficient in ring than Liv. I think Liv. I don't know that she was that much better than Ronda Rousey. Honestly, like in ring performer. I don't know. I think like and I know I have I'm if the bar now is Tiffany and Bianca, I could put Becky up there with them. She could work a mat, but can Liv hang
Yeah.
with Bianca in a believable way? No,
No.
no.
She'd have to cheat, which again, if you go the dastardly heel route, then that could work just fine. She could get there. I guess it depends on me what the storyline is. Is Becky a placeholder champion in that she gets it from Rhea, she gives it back to Rhea when Rhea gets back so that they can just kind of pause, but keep going the story. Then Becky wins. But at this point, I know they tried heel Becky before and it wasn't great. Nobody wanted it, but I think
It's
this
weird.
is the Hollywood Hogan for moment for Becky where she might need to turn heel in order for people to get behind her again. But you can't do heel Becky versus heel Liv and get so
Right.
if the story is Liv versus Rhea, which is what they were setting up before the injury, then you give it to Liv. Rhea comes back and destroys her.
You know what the right
Um,
role for Becky is? If I had a dream booking for Becky, it would be for her to drop this belt. I don't care when or to who, but drop the belt. Go be the commissioner of NXT. Go be run NXT.
hmm,
Invest in the Thea Hales. right? And like
Wow.
build up the next generation. Like have a feud with Roxanne where you are the, disenfranchised commissioner that can't get Roxanne to play by the rules. And you've got to have these epic, promos against one another. That would be incredible. Now, of course, that means Rock's daughter has to go somewhere. Um, I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to happen anytime soon. But I really like the role that Paige used to
Nepotism.
play, the role that Sonya Deville used to play, right? Like Becky would do that better and be
Mm,
over again if she was.
right.
Becky the enforcer, and
Yeah.
the administrator. So maybe Liv injures her and she drops the belt and she has to rehab. And in rehabbing, she becomes, the commissioner of, I mean, that's what
Right.
I'd love to see that story go.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
here's the behind the scenes though on this where it does matter. If Becky retains, that's a sign that she 100% re-signed. As of right now, we don't know her contract is up like this week. And as far as we know, she has not re-signed. Her husband has, so Seth
Wow.
has. But let me
Of
just say, Becky, if
course.
you're listening, look at what the competition did to Sasha Banks and make a
Oh,
decision that's right for
oh,
you. Because seriously, like Sasha Banks went from this is the one of the arguably best females ever to who's
right,
that?
right.
So hopefully Becky stays, but if she retains, it's 100% sign she re-signed. If she loses, it doesn't mean she's going away, but
I had no idea.
that's the bigger question I have. I don't care really
I
about
hadn't
the
heard
outcome
that.
of the match outside of that parameter.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. I'm assuming Becky keeps the belt to continue driving book sales. That was my thought. Is
Possibly.
but if we're seeing the book sales decline, Liv would be an amicable opponent to drop the belt to. That would be
Yeah.
believable. It wouldn't bury Becky. Uh,
Right. No, Becky's
this
going to
would
do
have to
fine no matter
be.
what.
That's when you ask, like, is this the climax of the Revenge Tour story? Uh,
No, it goes against Rhea.
right. So yeah, so I don't know. I'm having Becky go over, but this is starting to have a house show feel, right? This is starting to have
Right.
like a low stakes Jetta house show feel if that's
Uh-oh.
what happens. But I think that's what happens. What do you
Yep.
got, Lee?
No, that's it. Like I say, this match, I mean, for Becky, my favorite female ever in wrestling, I just don't care. I mean, other than if she stays, I want her to stay. I mean, I'm great for her if she future endeavors herself, but I just don't see a valuable proposition where somebody else is going to use her the right way, but maybe she does. Maybe she bets on herself. Maybe she has that Cody Rhodes story. It's just the difference is she's one of the most decorated champions in history at this point. So she doesn't need that go away and prove yourself
Right.
moment. She just needs to transition into that, not quite the legends role yet, but that's the one who establishes younger stars role, like you said. That's all I got for her for
So
that.
next up would be finals of the women's Queen of the Ring. Um, in the finals is Lyra Valkyria representing Raw.
Yeah, right.
The finals representing SmackDown will be the winner of Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax.
Yeah,
I'm
so
assuming it's going to be Bianca because Nia could not carry a match against Lyra. I'm going to assume,
right,
right? Because who's carrying the match against Nia? It's always her opponent. Right?
right,
So Bianca's going to carry the match. Bianca's going to go over. It's going to be an epic, in my opinion. Lyra versus Bianca is set. There's no possible way
right.
they would anyway. So
Well, I would have said that when it was Jade versus Nia, I would have told you 100%. Jade's going over 100%. She's your queen of the ring. And
right,
then they had Nia win, and I went,
yeah.
what?
Well, they can't put
What?
they can't put Nia. I mean, they can't put Jade versus Bianca. That's got to be a dream booking that people are salivating to see
Yeah,
whenever
maybe.
Jade is finally ready in the ring, right? So
Yeah,
they can't do it. They can't let it out of the bag yet. but I cannot believe they had her lose that match. Like I
Right.
cannot believe.
It's her first loss in WWE, right? I mean, she
Yeah.
hasn't lost that I know of. Maybe I'm wrong, but she
No.
hasn't wrestled that much. But yeah, so for me, Queen Bianca doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, again, this is a Becky Lynch situation again, even though Bianca's earlier in her career, she's already done everything. And so, I mean, yeah, adding Queen of the Ring to her titles would make her more prestigious in the Hall of Fame ceremony. But other than that, I just don't see it. This is the time to start like Triple H, booking wise, needs to start establishing his generation of superstars.
You're gonna have a
And
rookie win Queen of the Ring over the EST.
that is my preference. That's not what I say will happen, but
Right.
I would say that would be that shock thing. Like King of the Ring, its counterpart to Queen of the Ring, has made the careers of several people, most notably Steve Austin. Now, the Attitude Era didn't begin at that promo, but
Right.
Steve Austin beating Jake the Snake for King of the Ring is what inaugurated the Austin era. What
Right.
if we had another moment like that and Lia Valkyria shows up as, we've been talking about Tiffany Stratton, and now we go, oh, oh,
Lyra's incredible.
oh,
Lyra has been so impressive in her Raw run.
yeah. What if
Uh,
she beats Bianca definitively? Because here's the other thing, rumor, behind the scenes,
she's
innuendo,
she's pregnant.
she's possibly pregnant.
Oh,
And I would say like, hey,
yeah,
that's just noise, but like
like
Dawkins
you're right,
posted a thing
right.
with Montez
Yeah,
that said some words that were like, oh, that's
yeah.
yeah,
I agree. I think she's pregnant because of the Dawkins tweet this week. Like I
right,
think I don't know. Did they have a birth announcement? I mean, did they do a pregnancy announcement? Usually, you let the couple
right,
do that. It's kind of
right.
dishonoring to make that announcement for
Well,
them.
Montez was right there in the photo doing the
One
like,
of the,
oh man.
and
So
you're
I
like,
mean he
was that the announcement? And if so, do you let your boy do it? Maybe you do.
right. But can Bianca even wrestle if she's like that's the thing I've been wondering is like why didn't they eliminate Bianca as a surprise and go to Lyra versus Jade? But again, maybe it's just the fact that Jade couldn't put the match together with Lyra the way that you
So
want it to.
okay, Lee. Well, let's say this. Regardless of who wins that match, Bianca versus Naya. So if Bianca's pregnant and if Naya is Naya, like, are you saying Lyra is almost the guaranteed Queen of the Ring winner?
She is my best bet given the circumstances. I have been known to be wrong before, but I think crowning her and giving her, I don't know if she's heel face, as she, like they're still establishing her, but
Babyface to the max because she's Becky's
right.
protege.
Oh, well, see, now I like her even more.
Yeah,
So,
she's the one Becky is like lifting up and
right.
at a girling after the match. She's backstage together. Becky's basically carrying Lyra's promos for her. Um,
Ooh, ooh, that'd be a good role for Becky to be the man. I'd love to see Becky be the manager. That'd be, well, if just so imagine, okay, let's imagine then Becky becomes her mouthpiece or whatever, and how Becky can come out and say, the rookie who in her first major event won Queen of the Ring. She proved herself. Now she's got a chip on her shoulder. Take her heel. You could, keep her face, but it just, see, here's the thing. Think about these NXT call-ups we had in the previous regime's era, most notably Karrion Kross, dominant champion in NXT, comes up, gets beaten 3 seconds by Jeff Hardy wearing a gimp outfit, and not Jeff Hardy, him, and is still not believable to this day. There has not been a moment where we've
yeah,
gone, oh, Kross redeemed himself, and I don't think that's on him entirely, though some blame, but it's not
very
entirely
bad
on him.
booking.
However, you bring up a new character like Lyra and you give her the flowers right off the
She's
bat,
so
and people go,
likable.
oh, I got to pay attention to her.
I have a feeling they're gonna put that crown on Naya's head as a way to
Ugh.
legitimize her as a monster heel in a main eventer. I really do. I think she's gonna be
No.
the heel queen that we hate to hate.
Oh,
I think that's what's gonna happen. Um,
I'm depressed now.
I am too, because I really like Lyra. I just don't see him putting it on a kid right out of the gate. So I'm calling Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. What's your pick, Lee? What's your prediction?
I've got to go live Valkyria because without that, I don't know that I can she might get Dominic heat. Like maybe that's what they're going for. Or
Not
maybe that's what establishes her into the bloodline. She says, "Look, I am royalty. Your
right.
bloodline, I am
Oh,
royalty."
that'd be
There,
good.
maybe.
Well, here's the thing. Usually I'm the optimist and the dream booker, and this one I just feel very pessimistic about. Um, so the
Right.
men's
Hope.
finals is going to be Gunther representing Raw
Yes.
versus the winner of Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga this Friday night on SmackDown in Jeddah. So tomorrow
Yeah.
night will determine who's in the final. So same situation as the girls. We got
Yep.
Gunther versus, does it matter? I'm saying it doesn't matter who wins. Gunther goes over, and it basically is a squash match.
Maybe. So Tamatanga, I mean, obviously, if they're trying to do something with the bloodline, and if they go Naya and Tama, now you've got like the bloodline has all the royalty. So there's that avenue. I saw somebody post, it was like an official sheet or whatever, but they posted, "How dare you beat the biggest draw in your company on free TV?" And I was like, wait, they're legitimately talking about Jey Uso. Like Jey Uso is a fun novelty character, and he's proving himself more and more as he goes. But
Hmm.
putting Gunther in that spot was 100% the right call.
Yeah.
I almost think it's a foregone conclusion then that he goes against Randy Orton because the IWC Internet Wrestling community has dream booked Orton versus Gunther a lot of
Yeah.
times. And
Yeah.
that would be like one where it's almost a legend killer moment. Like if they could lean into Gunther's, like if he could do a promo or Kaiser could do a promo right before the match and say, "You used to be the legend killer. Now you meet the legend killer."
I
And,
think so.
like goes after him. I think that would be wonderful. I think they have a great match. I hope Gunther wins. Randy Orton does not need anymore. Again, it's the legend situation. It's not that I don't like him. He just doesn't need any more accolades at this point unless he beats Ric Flair's all-time championship record. That's the only one that I would say, okay, if you
Yeah.
want to do that, you can do that now.
Gunther was the first person to announce his entrance into the King of the Ring. And a lot of times I think they play with that. The first
Right.
person to go live that they're in is oftentimes who's in the main event. And I think this is what legitimizes Gunther as a main event heel, as the
Mm,
monster heel who just in an
as if the
upset
IC title
win
one didn't.
took down Randy
Took
Orton
down Randy Orton. Yeah.
so that he can be, I think you said it, the new legend killer. That would
Right.
be a phenomenal build for Gunther. And it's so interesting too that they put his IC title at a 666 day reign
Uh,
to
I
even
hate that.
say to even say
Every time he's on.
this guy is bad,
Yeah.
is a bad guy. He's so bad
Oof.
that even his title reign is the baddest number we can think of, right? So
Mark.
it's like you will be the heel of heels for a while.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I think he's the Rock calls himself final boss. Gunther is he is the next redacted that guy who had the long title reigns and barely showed up. But here's the thing, and I just thought of this too, is I was dream booking the bloodline with two king and queen. What if it does come down to Tamatanga, or even if it doesn't, if it's Randy versus Gunther, Gunther wins, and then on the next show, you see Nia Jax come up to the bloodline and say, "Look, you think you're royalty. I'm the only one who's royalty." And what if the true tribal chief is not The Rock in the storyline? What if Nia takes Roman's spot and she becomes like the mistress of the bloodline? And everybody can make fun of
Oh my
NWO
gosh,
2.0,
dude.
NWO 2000. I get it. That's
That's
probably what it would
crazy.
be.
That's crazy. That's a crazy take, bro. Whoa.
She's
uh,
Missy of the bloodline.
wow. wow. I just don't. I mean, I'm open to it. I think I kind of like it.
If
It
it's done right, it could be fun.
it
And
would
then you
be
could have
innovative.
Roman come back and beat Nia, I don't know.
Start calling herself the godmother, you know.
Oh,
That'd be so funny.
yeah,
Um, so you've got Gunther going over as well?
absolutely.
Okay. Intercontinental title, triple threat match. Probably the match I care the least about on the card.
Eh,
Sami Zayn, or as my son calls him, Sami Zayn. Uh,
Sami Zayn.
Chad Gable versus Big Bronson Reed in a triple
Brrr.
threat match. We've got heel Gable on the ropes against Alpha Academy, who has slapped Otis in the face, who has berated Maxine. I have to believe this is the end of the Alpha Academy, regardless.
Yeah,
What you got
100%.
going on, Lee?
Yeah, I'm the same. This match doesn't matter to me. So Sami Zayn being the one to dethrone Gunther was always unpopular with me. Sami had his moment up to Roman, and if he would have been the guy to dethrone Roman, I'd have been behind him 100%. But it feels like he lost all his steam since then. So this is kind of the rebuild Sami Zayn leg of the tour. Bronson, I think, would be great. And if Bronson got it, then you could go to Jey Uso because they both talked about being their first singles, title run. But in all honesty, I think Alpha Academy costs Chad Gable. Sammy pins Chad Gable. Chad Gable then goes off with the Creed brothers, breaks up Alpha Academy, starts Team Angle 2.0, and
Oh,
then he goes after Sammy and wins it at SummerSlam. That's my hope.
you know what else I was thinking would be really savvy for Gable to do would be to say that he's the master's level educator, and he's calling up his undergrads, Chase U, to be like I was thinking, like, could that work reputably? Like, could they bring up, because Chase U kind of sucks. Like, it's not
They
it,
do.
it's like, what is it called? The varsity club, it used to be called. In
Spirit Squad.
oh, it's they're the same. It's the same branding, it's the same outfits.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah,
do, do, do.
it's terrible. Wasn't there somebody famous in the Spirit Squad? Didn't
Dolph
somebody?
Ziggler, Ziggy
Yeah.
Puff.
Oh. So it's the Spirit Squad 2.0, and maybe
Yeah.
Gable could redeem it. I
Well, that's
would
why I say he's going to be Team Angle 2.0. They're going to become
That would be
that.
awesome, especially on an Olympic year, Olympic summer. I would
Didn't even think about
love,
that
love, love that.
on Peacock.
I think there's no way Sammy's dropping this title in Jeddah. Sammy is a outspoken and devout Muslim. He is the fan favorite in Jeddah. Last year or 2 years ago, he came out in the traditional Arabic uniform and spoke Arabic to the crowd, and the roof exploded. He's the hometown hero, so to speak, not
Yep.
Mustafa Ali, who it was years ago.
Right.
Sammy is getting
Weird.
legitimate, baby face, like no other pop is like Sammy's pop in
In Jeddah.
Jeddah. And
Yeah.
and I think we saw that on the press conference. I think we saw that in the pre-show press event in the previous years. They were chanting two names louder than any other names in Jeddah: Sami Zayn and LA Knight. LA Knight was the other crowd favorite, fan favorite. And so there's not an LA Knight match on
Yeah,
this
he
card,
lost.
but I'm believing that
Yeah.
something on SmackDown in Jeddah is going to be LA Knight centric. That he's probably somehow going to be in a main event match on Friday night as a token of fan appreciation of LA Knight. So I think Sammy goes
I
over
hope so.
because I think Bronson Reed's got to be the one to do all the work, do all the
Hmm.
pain, and somehow Sammy pins Gable that Bronson has incapacitated at the end of the match.
Because Otis turns on him. I mean, that's 100% the way it's got to go. So I think we're both in agreement. Sami Zayn retains. I don't see another outcome.
And the
I just
roof
don't.
goes off the arena when they cheer for
Yeah.
him. And it's going to be beautiful. Yeah. And I could see maybe even his wife being part of the celebration because of her heritage, and she's on his merch. and she's always ringside. So I think it could be like a really heartwarming, a really touching finish. I don't
And
think
then
it
LA
would be the
Knight
main
finally beats
event.
him.
I don't think it would be the main event, which makes me think this might be the opening match of the night.
I can see that.
Because you want to
Yeah,
opener
Gunther needs to be the main
electric.
event. If
Yeah,
it's going to be King and Queen of the Ring,
right.
and if you've got Nia versus Lia Valkyria, I mean, there's not a
Oof.
name in that yet.
No.
So it's got to be Gunther as the main
I think
event.
it could be. I think it could be Sammy
Maybe
opening
Cody.
the night, kicking off high energy, and I think women's queen match could be match two.
Yeah, I
That
can see
might
that.
be the go get some popcorn match in Jeddah. Especially, you're going to have the ladies wearing the NASCAR suits. You're going to have the ladies, doing things in modesty that they won't, So it's like, I don't know that the women's match is that popular over there, but it's growing in interest, right? So I don't
Yeah,
know what to say about international, policy and customs and
right.
mannerisms, but I do know Sammy's the guy.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that the whole card?
That's the whole card that's currently released, unless
Wow.
there's something else that comes out on SmackDown. This is from WWE's website today. So
Wow.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
It seems like a kind of a shorter card, doesn't it?
And that's okay. I mean, that's one of the things, like, we don't need to have 7 hour long pay-per-view, PLE, whatever's. However, I guess the last takeaway I have, and then we got to close up here, is what happened to LA Knight? Like, what happened to LA Knight?
Really
I
hard,
thought after WrestleMania, LA Knight would either go against Cody or
right?
whoever the world champion is right now. I forget who it even is. I'm joking, but legitimately, while you were talking, I was trying to think of who the world champion was, and then I
Danny
was like,
Cajon.
"Oh yeah, it's Damian Priest." But
Yeah.
he matters so little, I forgot about that. Legitimately.
Can I just
So,
say as a side note, okay, since it's a shorter card, my predictions or my hopes for this night would be that we get the debut of whatever the Wyatt Six or the Uncle Howdy or what. Like, I
hmm,
think that bubble is ripe and ready to pop. I don't know that they can keep adding interest to it. It's time to reveal. The reveal
right.
is ready, because if they don't do it Saturday, were they just going to do it on a random Raw, right? Or are they going
Yeah,
to
it'd
do
have
it
to be the next draw or
in
something.
Scotland? A Clash at the Castle is,
That's too long.
yeah. You need again, SummerSlam feels like you would be in a substantial match at SummerSlam because you've
Right.
already arrived. Not only am I hoping for that, my other hope for this PLE is that we would see something happen with this new stable. It feels like a new stable forming within the Judgment Day of
Oh, yeah.
Dominic and Carlito and maybe Priest, to where we're kind of talking about these Latino kings. Like, there was a possibility that Andrade would be with Dominic, but then they, flipped it,
Flipped it.
went face
Yeah.
at Andrade. So it's like we've got all of these incredible, we've said this before, we've got all this incredible Latina talent that is too wrapped up in one self-contained story, but I'm really ready to see a breakout faction from it, maybe shuffle the deck and have something new come out of it to where it
Yeah.
really transcends what they've been doing, and especially on the level of heel work that they're starting to put in with Carlito, where he's just taking out Dragon Lee, taking out Ray. He's this oddball. Now he's hanging around the locker room of the Judgment Day. I don't know what it's building towards, but I hope I get to see more of it. I like it. I'm very interested in this story, and I'd very much like to see more of it at this PLE. And I know it's a raw
Hmm.
story, so it may not develop, or it may be
Yeah.
a promo, or it may be like one weird backstage conversation,
Right.
is all we see. I don't know.
Well, nobody from either of those factions is really involved, but I would
Right.
love to see Dominic, like, he's been playing in the shadows, and all of a sudden, like, he's the one. Everybody talked about, like, oh, Rhea might take over the Judgment Day or Finn might take, but what if he's the one and they do
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
hybrid LWO Judgment Day
Yeah.
thing. JD McDonough has to choose. Finn Balor just goes out on his own. Damian Priest is out on his own. Rhea comes back and what the heck, guys? What did you do to this? And
I would love to see Damien be the leader or like the
yeah,
muscle of a really kind of like, dominant faction involving all of those names that we've been discussing. And of course, you got to bring in Santos. You got to bridge the gap to whatever that phantasma is. I mean, you got to just, it's got to evolve into something that's marketable and sustainable. And I don't think anything they're doing is right now.
right.
Maybe they're selling LWO shirts, but I don't know if they're doing anything with Santos Group and Angel and Humberto. You gotta make this thing a thing, right? We're dancing around what is it, and we like it, but we want to see it happen. We want to see it happen. So whatever that is, like I'm just saying, like this evil Latin empire, like I really want to see it happen and replace the Judgment Day and be the top heel faction on Raw. I would love it. I would love it. Queen Zelina, just what if the female winner of Queen of the Ring and then Zelina comes out and just beats him with the scepter and tries to reestablish herself as the queen,
Right.
Like that would be so perfect. That would be a Jerry Lawler type move, when he took out Hart, when he
Right.
put the crown on his head. There's only one
Right.
king in the Federation. Yeah. So anyway,
It's very
man,
Austin. Well, anyway.
this is just my dream booking again. So
Right.
I don't like
Sweet.
face Zelina. I don't like face LWO. I don't, my son does. He's a huge, I mean, he loves all of that. It's all we talk about, but I'd like to see him be the bad guys and dominant. So
Right. Crazy. Well, I think that's all we got for this week.
yep,
I want to say thank you to everybody who listens, to both versions of this, the full WWE version, or I'm sorry, the full podcast with the WWE version, and this split off because we love talking about wrestling. It's something we've cared about since our childhoods, and
true.
what can we say is still influencing us all this time later. It's an honor to be a part of this community, and we appreciate you guys. We'll see you Friday on Twitch. Bye.
Bye.